Hey, welcome, Brax. I'm super excited to have you here.
I'm very happy to be here. I appreciate the
Yes,
opportunity.
yes. And um, friends, Brad Yates, the name which doesn't need any introduction. And but still, I want to read out a bit about Brad here. So let me introduce Brad Yates. Brad Yates is known internationally for his creative and often humorous use of emotional freedom techniques. He was trained and certified at the respected Hypnosis Motivation Institute in Tarzana, California, where he served on staff. Combining this background with training in energy psychology and various schools of thought in the area of personal growth and achievement, he coaches groups and individuals in achieving greater success, health, and happiness in their lives. Brad has had the privilege and pleasure of working with a diverse group of clients, including CEOs, professional and NCAA athletes, chiropractors, psychiatrists. The list goes on. Brad, you are like your profile is awesome. Like international energy psychology conferences, like is almost. I remember you doing your a program with Joe Vitale, and it's like almost Brad is in most of these World EFT summits. Brad is the author of best-selling children's book, The Wizard's Wish, the co-author of the bestseller Freedom at Your Fingertips, and a featured expert in the film The Tapping Solution, along with Jack Canfield, Bob Proctor, Dr. Norman Shelley, and Dr. Bruce Lipton. Brad's eclectic background includes several years as an international performing actor. He is a graduate of Ringling Bros and Burnham and Bailey Clown College, where he was selected to be the MEC and a featured performer in the final show under the Big Top. Brad is a caring professional with a sincere interest in seeing people produce extraordinary results. He lives in the Sacramento area with his wonderful wife and their two magnificent kids. So that's Brad for us. So, Brad, I want to start this interview like even though I'm tensed interviewing Brad's. Brad, I love and accept
Relax, Nizam.
myself. So here comes my first question to you, Brad. What interested to get into EFT?
Yeah. How does a grown man find himself tapping on his face for a living? Um, well, as you mentioned, I was an actor,
Mhm,
and I I'd been touring the world doing theater. I went to Hollywood to be a movie star.
mhm,
But while I was there, I met a woman, fell in love, got married. And when our first child was on the way, I thought I should probably have a backup career.
mhm,
So I trained to become a hypnotherapist, and
mhm,
I started doing that. And I was building a small practice as a hypnotherapist. And then after a couple of years of doing that and the acting thing, we when our second child was on the way, I realized that as much as I loved acting, doing personal development work was really my calling. It's
Okay.
really what I felt like I was meant to do. And so we left Los Angeles, moved to Northern California to be closer to our families. And through some other hypnotherapists, I heard about EFT
Mm,
and this energy psychology. And I went to an energy psychology conference and learned EFT from Gary Craig, the founder of Emotional Freedom Techniques,
mm,
and just fell in love with it. I just thought this is such an interesting process. And I started introducing it into my hypnotherapy sessions. And little by little, they became tapping sessions with a little bit of hypnotherapy at the end.
Yes.
So that's how I got into doing EFT. And then when YouTube was created, I thought, hey, wouldn't it be cool if there's a tapping video that people could start their day with? And I called the first video Tap of the Morning, and it was all I ever intended to do was just that one video. And
Okay.
then a few months later, I had another idea, and then another idea, and then now there's over 900 of them.
Yes, yes. Brad, that's what I wanted to say. Whoever knows EFT, they know Brad Yates, Brad Yates videos and EFT. And if I ask them, do you know Gary Craig? I don't know. Do you know Brad Yates? Yes, yes. I know.
Well,
So that's that like for everything. I think now it are almost like 900 videos. You name anything, there is EFT video for some issue. That's
yeah, there's a
amazing.
tap for that.
Yes, yes. So you have covered almost all the topics on the planet Earth under these YouTube videos.
Oh, I still have a long list to go.
Oh my God.
And new requests every day from people. When are you going to tap on this? So I still have a ways to go. There's for whatever is coming up for someone. I probably have something that's close enough, or
Yes,
at least similar, that they can tap with it. And I believe that if you know what's going on for you, you can tap with almost any video. You could be having a
yes,
physical issue, and if you're aware of what's going on, you could tap to a money video and still get benefit from going through the tapping
yes,
process.
yes. So, Brands, there is this like, is EFT a one session wonder? Or is it always true?
I wish. I there are So when the tapping therapy was first basically discovered by the tapping as we know it was discovered by Dr. Roger Callahan.
Yeah.
It was with a woman with a water phobia, and he cleared a lifelong water phobia in a matter of minutes.
Hmm.
That's one of these things we call a 1-minute wonder. And the problem with EFT is that when people hear stories like that, they assume that, well, I'm going to tap for a minute or two, and my lifelong trauma and issues and habits are all going to change. And it'd be wonderful if it happened that quickly. And we do have those 1-minute wonders sometimes,
Yes,
where I've tapped with somebody on some issue that has haunted them for years, and in a matter of minutes, it doesn't bother them at all.
yes.
But in general, it tends to take longer to overcome certain things. I know I still have a couple of things that I've been working on for a while, but so it works both ways. It tends to speed up talk therapy.
Mhm.
So traditional talk therapy can take a lot longer. Doing the tapping in combination with that tends to speed up the process.
That's great. Because there is this myth, so that's the reason I wanted to bring this topic. And this is something interesting, Brad. Do you see any difference while working with men and women? Do men have difficulty in feeling emotions?
Well, traditionally, yeah, men tend to be more cut off from their emotions. We're not supposed to feel things. We're supposed to be very stern and stoic.
Boys should not cry.
Yeah, boys should not cry. And so there tends to be more difficulty with that. Uh, Most of my clients tend to be women, because not only are men not supposed to feel, we're also not supposed to ask for help.
Okay, yeah.
So I'm always very impressed when I get male clients, and when I do live events, and it's 80 to 90% women, and there's one or two guys in there. It's like, hey, I
Yes,
really admire you guys for showing up, because it's very difficult, but they see results because guys are human too. And
yes,
we have
yes,
those same emotions. We just close off from them, and it hurts us in all kinds of different ways.
yes, yes. Thank you. And what are the different fields where EFT is being used,
Oh,
Brad?
where isn't it being used, Nizam? um,
Yeah, it's
there
good.
are obviously within psychology, there are a lot of licensed therapists who are incorporating tapping into their work. There are medical doctors who,
Yes.
it's always a huge compliment to me when I hear of therapists and physicians who will tell me, well, I assign your videos to my patients as homework. to
I
do
like that.
to work on in between sessions. So, but there are business people using it to increase their business. I've worked with network marketing experts. I have worked with professional athletes. There are a number of pro sports teams. People would be surprised. Well, not those of us who know the benefits of tapping, but
Yeah.
there are people out there who say, "Oh, tapping looks stupid." Who would be surprised to find out that some of their sports heroes are using
Yes.
it to get better and to be on their best game. World Series winning teams, Super Bowl winning teams, where the players are using tapping. They're just not ready to tell the world.
Yes.
But we have video footage of top level world class athletes tapping
Yes.
in
Yes.
preparation for events at the Olympics, at top level matches. So uh, all kinds of different fields in education. There are a number of schools where teachers are using tapping to help their students be better prepared. So all kinds of different fields, and hopefully more and more. There's nothing that can't get better with tapping. So keep putting it out there.
Yes. So, how do you see the future of EFT, Brads?
uh, as time goes on, I see it being used more and more in all kinds of different venues. Just even last night, I was creating new Facebook groups for professionals in different fields who might be interested in using EFT to increase their success, like real estate and sales and marketing.
Wow.
And I would love to see it in political venues. I mean, imagine having summits, peace talks, where people are tapping to calm down their emotions so that what happens is when we get stressed out, the amygdala picks up threat, we feel a stress response, and the prefrontal cortex goes offline. When people are sitting down at peace talks, we want their prefrontal cortexes to be there. We want their rational minds to be there. And so often, uh, you know, even world leaders, people at the very highest levels, are still human and are prone to having stress responses. Someone says something that pisses them off, and they're off, and peace negotiations break down. So I would love to see that in all kinds of negotiations. From simple day-to-day mediation in divorce court or things like that, uh, to couples counseling, talking to your children, all the way up to high level peace talks in the world.
That's awesome. And Brads, how is EFT different from NLP, hypnosis, and other modalities?
Yeah. So one of the things about EFT is that it has the somatic component. So using the actual physical component of the body, as opposed to these other techniques that are just talk therapy, that are using the mind and using the mind in profound ways. Obviously, I think NLP is fantastic. Hypnosis, I still love. I still do hypnosis. But to bring in this component to break down the stress response, and it's and what I love is that it's something you can do when you're in a stressful situation. So if you're at the scene of an accident and somebody is really besides themselves, it's very difficult to do NLP with them. It's very difficult to get them to a trance. Meditation is a wonderful tool for becoming stress resistant, but it takes years of practice to get to that point. And when you're in a very stressful situation, it's very difficult to say, just a moment now.
Yes.
Uh, and I know that's a characterization of meditation, but and I know there are all kinds of meditation and waking meditation, walking meditation, things like that. However, it can be very difficult to quiet the mind, whereas having this simple physical tool, you don't have to, it'll quiet your mind for you, as opposed to trying to force yourself into that. So I like the immediacy of it and the quick effectiveness of it. And then I love to do it in conjunction with other things. Some of the wording that I use while I'm tapping is based in hypnotic language or NLP.
Yes, your scripts are awesome.
Thank you. Thank you. I can't really take credit for it. I download the information while I'm tapping.
So, what makes Graduate's style of EFT unique?
Well, it's just that I'm so no. Well, I mean, all of us bring to the work who we are and our background. So as you read in my bio, I have a pretty eclectic background. I'm a trained hypnotherapist, and I went through a long course of study. It's a year-long course of study. A lot of hypnosis programs are like a weekend long, or you read it in a book and now you're certified. So I, had supervised hours in a clinic and all kinds of different trainings in that year of programs. I have all of my years of training as an actor and Ringling Brothers Clown College, a lot of background in comedy. So I bring all of these different elements. The comedy comes in sometimes to add what I call the spoonful of sugar that helps the medicine go down. Because when we're talking about difficult things, it just helps to have that comic relief sometimes and helps to ease the process. My background as a trained actor helps me being on camera. I'm more comfortable on camera than a lot of my colleagues. So, and likewise in live events, being on stage, second nature for me. I loved being up there in front of an audience. And for a lot of people, public speaking is their biggest fear. So, all of that, and then the service component that I was raised in a good family. My loving family who cared about things and were courteous and kind, loving people. And then when I met my wife, who was running homeless shelters, very much a person of service, and really inspired that in me. And so that's where I really come from try to come from a place of service. And that's why all the videos on YouTube, it's, none of the tapping videos on YouTube were ever created as marketing tools. I never had this idea of, oh, you know what, I could sell a lot of programs if if people knew about me on YouTube. It was simply a matter of what would help people. And all of the ideas I keep in my journal. I just am always writing down, oh, hey, this would probably be beneficial to people. And while there are ads and promotion things lead back to my website, it's always about, I have an opportunity here to try to make a difference in the world. And fortunately, the universe, God, creator, whatever, I don't try to push any language on people around their spirituality, but spirit is happy to reward us for our service. It's not a matter of, oh, I don't want any money. I'm just it's not I'm not altruistic. I certainly want a nice life for myself, and I've created a nice life for myself, unapologetically. But it comes through, and I think one of the things that people respond to, and one of the comments I get a lot, is that they appreciate the authenticity, because because my videos are not, hey, so now we're going to do a tapping video that's going to help you, and then be sure to buy my program at the end. And I'm not saying that any of my colleagues are doing that. I haven't seen any of my colleagues, coming across with that kind of approach. But so I'm not saying this to say, hey, I'm a fantastic person, but to inspire anyone watching this, that when you come from that place, it pays off in all kinds of wonderful ways. There are all kinds of benefits to coming from a place of service, and unfortunately, there's a lot of messages out there that are about, just go for the money and do whatever you can to get the money, and if you can help people, that's good too. So allow yourself. I want to inspire folks to say, you can come from a place of service, and it pays off in all kinds of wonderful ways.
Yes. Like, just to share some of the experiences I heard about your videos, Brad, like, EFT, I know through Brad Yates, and I was going through a rough phase in my life. And if it was not Brad Yates' videos, then I don't know how I could have dealt with the situations. So your videos have really made a lot of difference in so many people's life. You have done, and you are doing an amazing job inspiring people all around the world, Brad. And tell me about your books.
Yeah. So actually, I have a couple of them over here. Where what do I do with that? Yeah. So when uh, about 10 years ago, I think it was, maybe a little bit longer ago, well, it was actually when we were shooting the film, The Tapping Solution, when Nick and Jessica Ordner invited me to be in their film, The Tapping Solution. Uh, during the conversation, we talked a lot about tapping with children, and I hadn't done a lot of tapping with children, but I'd done a couple of things, and with my own children. And then that was the main part of my interview that they used in the film, was talking about tapping with children, and how so many of the times when we're working with adults, the issues that we're working with are things that happen in their childhood. And just looking at, wow, if we could teach tapping to kids, we could clear up so much early on in life, and they wouldn't have those limitations that so many of us struggle with in our adult life. And their natural genius would be cultivated in all kinds of ways. And just think about what a difference that would make for the world. And then I thought, well, it'd be great if there was a children's book, because we loved reading books to our kids. That was a big part of raising our kids. So I thought, I wonder if I could write a storybook that could be a bedtime story that would introduce tapping to kids. And my friend Nicole Whitney, who I do a radio show called Tapping for the Soul, she gave me the nickname the EFT Wizard. And I love wizards. We're big Harry Potter fans. I've got my collection of Harry Potter wands over here. So I thought, well, let's do it about a wizard. And so I came up with the book, The Wizard's Wish, about a wizard who discovers that there are these little creatures called yuckies in people that make them feel bad. And by tapping on them with his wand, he is able to make the yuckies go away. And then as time goes on, so many people need his help, and he can't help all of them. And he's saying, you guys can do this. You guys can do it. And they're saying, we don't have wands. And he discovers that his fingers he doesn't need a wand. He just uses his fingers as a wand. So it's just kind of a fun way of introducing tapping to kids as a bedtime story. So that's been great. And then about a year or two ago, my friend Penny Eifrig asked me to
I have
collaborate on a
this
book.
book.
You have this one.
Yes.
And she said, can you come up with 10 short videos for kids on feeling better? And then incorporated that into a book. And so the book actually has QR codes that take people to a tapping video on different subjects. So allowing it to incorporate both a story that could be read, a bedtime story, as well as having links to videos that kids could tap along to.
Awesome. Awesome. So please write
And
one
then I have a
more
couple
book
of other.
for adults as well, Brad.
Pardon me?
For adults, you have videos.
Yeah, I have videos, and I have some other books. I have a book called The Key to Success, which was my first book, which was originally intended to be a companion book to other self-help books. It's like there's so many great self-help books, but it can't help, but if people have resistance, then it's what becomes, the term is shelf help, because the book self-help book goes back on the shelf and doesn't get used. Because when the exercises come up, people are like, yeah, I'll do that later, because they have resistance. So I wrote the book Key to Success as a book to introduce tapping as a component of self-help, so that people could read the great books of Jack Canfield and Napoleon Hill and Zig Ziglar and Brian Tracy. There's all these great books out there on self-help that people might not get full benefit from, and going to the live events of these great self-help teachers, and allowing people to have this tool to deal with the resistance that comes up, because we can go to a self-help thing and go, uh, oh yeah, that's such great information. I mean, all these wonderful people that I know and teach all these wonderful things. And I know that a lot of people are sitting there and saying, oh, that is so awesome. That's great information. That would really help, but I'm never going to do it.
If I use it, yes.
Not because they're bad or stupid, but
Yes.
because they have beliefs about why it's not safe to be successful, why it's not safe to talk to people about certain things. And so they limit their success, and they limit the service that they could provide to the world. So that was why I wrote that first book. And then there's some other books that you can get on Amazon, like I have a book of tapping transcripts, because some people like to read the words.
Yes.
So there's a whole variety of stuff there.
Yeah. And also, can you please tell about your programs like Money Beyond Belief and other programs that you have developed?
Yeah, certainly. So yeah, Money Beyond Belief was one of the first programs I did
With Joe.
shortly after EFT, after I learned EFT. Well, a couple years after I learned EFT, and one of the self-help people I had learned about was Dr. Joe Vitale. And we had exchanged a couple of emails, and then a couple more emails. And then he was doing a program called Attract a New Car. He was, one of the first big internet law of attraction teachers. And he invited me to come on that program and teach EFT as a way of clearing the resistance to attraction. And as we did that, we were talking and thought, we could create a specific program around this and work with people on their money blocks, because most people say they want more money, but they have beliefs about why they shouldn't. Money is the root of all evil. Rich people are bad. All these different things. So while our conscious mind, the 5 to 10% of our mind that's conscious, is saying, I'd love to have more money. I'm creating a vision board with big houses and a private jet and a yacht. And the other 90 to 95% is saying, yeah, you can fantasize about that, but we're not going to let it happen, because that would, we don't want to be a bad person. We don't want to, we'd dishonor our family if we were rich. Or maybe if I were rich, my family would want all my money, and I'd always be getting requests, and it would be so uncomfortable. It would be awkward to have more money. I'd have to pay more in taxes. So we have all of these reasons why it would be bad to have more money. So, and that's just emotional stuff that's in our energy system. And as we clear that, we open ourselves up to realize, wow, I could do a lot of good with money. I could enjoy my life more. There's all kinds of benefits to it. And I could just help a lot of people. So that's why we created that program. And then I've done a number of different programs like that. Most of them are based on recordings of me working with people on particular issues. Like in the Money Beyond Belief, we worked with a number of people on the issues that came up as to why couldn't or shouldn't you have more money? Yes. And as we tap it, and so the people following along with the program, most folks will have very similar issues and can clear them out. And again, like we were saying earlier, you can be tapping on an issue that may not seem relevant to you, but while tapping, you're going to still clear out a lot of your stuff.
Yes. Tell me about other programs also, like Confidence Beyond Belief, Sales Beyond Beliefs.
Yeah, golf beyond belief.
Golf Beyond Belief.
Yeah, all kinds of things. Tapping into network marketing success, fearless acting.
Fearless acting. Yeah.
In fact, I'm doing a live program right now where we're in the middle of a program right now of fearless acting, a month-long program, because I still have, as a former actor, still have this love of actors, and so wanted to create a program to help them clear their blocks.
Nice. And any upcoming programs from you, right? If people want to know about your upcoming programs.
Yeah, there's things that are in the works. It's hard to say exactly what I'm working with some partners on a couple of different ideas.
Okay.
One of the things that I've been doing also is I started a talk show called Get Ready, where I've
Mhm.
had the opportunity to interview authors and some other personal development leaders. Uh, the idea of there are opportunities for success and happiness out there. Are you ready for them? And so I interview different people who I think have an idea that could help people be more ready for those opportunities. So that's just another kind of a fun side project that I've been doing, just to introduce, help spread good information. But yeah, I'm working with some partners on some programs that we're still in too much of a development phase to say exactly what it's going to look like yet. But
Okay.
and then I've got a new video coming out every Monday,
Okay.
so
Nice, nice.
uh, keeping myself busy.
Yes, yes. And Brad, when are you going to come to India?
I don't know. It's so funny is someone asked me on Instagram this morning,
Okay.
uh, when the pandemic is over, will you come to India? And I wrote back and I said, funny thing, I'm doing an interview today for folks in India. And I've had invitations. I've had people ask me to come to India for quite a few years, over a decade now. And there was one time when there was almost an opportunity. Somebody was doing a big event, and it fell through. I can't remember what exactly happened, but uh, one of these days, it's
Yes,
I want to get to everywhere around the world and
yes,
share this. My favorite thing to do is live events, and it's really
yes.
hard right now not being able to do
True,
those.
true, true.
So India is definitely on the list.
Okay. I'll just visualize one day, Brad Yates is in India. I was always, getting inspired. Like in NLP, there is something called modeling. So
Yes.
that is where I always visualize, like tap with Brad's. Like here, I used to visualize like tap with Nizam. So that's where the inspiration comes, like,
Absolutely.
modeling your role models.
Yes. Well, and you can do events there. you know, India doesn't need me. You're there.
No, no, no. I want to share stage with Brad Yates and like,
Well, there you go. And I'd be happy
yes.
to.
And Brad, I have a request. Recently, a young actor has committed suicide in India. A very young, talented actor, and it has created a lot of disturbance. And especially when I'm doing EFT sessions with certain youth, they said like whole night they could not sleep. This news was going on in their mind, and a lot of youngsters also. What saddened me is yesterday I came to read over social media that 15-year-old girl and very young teenagers have committed suicide for not being able to take this. So, could you please record one exclusive video for Indian audience? I will be sharing the actor's name, an exclusive video for Indian audience.
I can put it on the list. I
Yes.
have a video on dealing with suicide. I don't know
Okay.
if you've seen
Okay.
that one.
Okay.
Um, and I'm not sure. Did you say that the actor committed suicide?
Yes, the actor
Yeah,
committed suicide, and it
yeah,
has impacted a lot of people. Lot of people.
yeah,
So, just wanted to request that could you please create one exclusive video that might help a lot of people.
yeah. So I have a video on dealing with suicide. I also did a video when Robin Williams killed himself.
Yes, yes, I
That
recall that incident. Yes,
Yeah, and so you could share that with folks as well, and they
definitely.
can change the name,
Yes,
because it would
yes.
be it would basically be the same. It would be the same kind of wording.
Yes, yes, yes. I would definitely do
Yeah.
that. I will share it in
So
the social media also because we don't know who is going through what, and I thought your video might help people to deal with going through this. So that's one
yeah,
thing. Yeah. And
and I'm
Brad,
not saying I can't do that, but there
yes,
are already videos that don't wait for that opportunity, because I
Yes,
leave on
yes.
vacation tomorrow. So,
Okay. Sure, sure. No, I understand
but
it.
so I would put those videos out, you know, right away, and I'll send you the link to those videos.
Sure, sure. And Brad, could you please share some of your success stories where you felt like where you have used EFT, and of course, in these many years, you might have hundreds and thousands of stories, but something which you remember and people had breakthrough experience, could be physical healing or anything. Some of your stories that you remember.
Yeah. There are a couple of stories that always stand out,
Yes.
and there are mysteries. I mean, I get, one of the blessings of doing YouTube is that every day I get comments from people saying, "Hey, this
Yes.
really helped me here, and this got me through the day, and I wasn't sure, what was going to happen." I've had, again, one of the things I love about doing live events is that I actually get to meet some of these people who, come up and tell me, "You have no idea what these videos have done. I was so down, I literally had to crawl up the stairs in my house to where I had my computer to watch tapping videos." And, and now they're walking. It's like they're coming to live events where they were barely, their energy was so low and they were in such despair. Uh, so there have been those moments where working with someone who on an issue that has troubled them for 20, 30, 40 years, and sometimes in a matter of minutes, and I'll ask, on a scale of 0 to 10, how troubling is it? And yet, after all these years, it's still 8, 9, 10, and their body shakes or they feel physical discomfort. And sometimes in a matter of minutes, maybe 10, 15 minutes of tapping, maybe longer. And they're looking back and going, "Yeah, it happened." It's, physical issues where I had a booth at a health fair, and someone came over and he was really struggling. His back was really hurting. And he said, can this help my back?" And so we did some tapping, and he said his back was at about an 8 in terms of how painful it was. And so we did some tapping. He goes, "Yeah, I think it feels better." And they left. And then about an hour or two later, he and his girlfriend came back, and he said, "I don't know what you did, but I don't know if you're aware, but over another part of the park, they have a dance floor, and we've been over there dancing."
Oh my God, amazing.
And he said, "I feel fine." So whatever you did, that stuff is working. So there are, it's very, very rewarding work. I don't take credit for it. I'm just a guide. I'm not a healer. I just guide people to do their own healing. The work comes through me, not from me. I've just been very blessed to bear witness to the healing that people are able to do, and how the tapping work facilitates that healing process.
Awesome, awesome. Thanks for sharing your amazing experiences. And Brad, there is a little dark side for every modality. So here comes like, EFT to get your ex back, EFT just, become rich overnight. And what crazy was I came across how to seduce women using advanced EFT techniques. Oh my God, all these are found everywhere. So, what are your
You
suggestions
saw that? I haven't seen that. Oh
about?
my.
Oh my God, I came
It is
across
a
all
power to
this.
be used. It's a power to be used for good rather than evil.
Yes, yes,
Now, using tapping to get rich isn't evil. There's nothing wrong with
yes.
having money.
But
Um,
overnight rich, like the people are
yeah.
lured into such things. So, what's your
Yes.
advice?
Right. And, and some people might accuse me that using a term like money beyond belief or things like that. And I'm always clear, this is not a get rich quick scheme.
Yes,
This is a process of, now you might find that you get rich quickly because if you clear your money blocks, all
yes,
kinds of things can happen. And I've seen people increase their wealth quickly and exponentially. Uh, but it's not it's not a matter of, hey, let's tap away my morality. And my take on it is that underneath all of our fears and our doubts and our guilt and our shame, we are unique expressions of divine light and love. And as we tap away our resistance, we are less likely to want to do harm to someone. It's not about, hey, I'm going to tap away. Boy, if I could rob somebody, I could get rich quick. Or if I could, you know, seduce them against their will or something like that, I could score, or whatever it might be. The person that would want to do that is the person racked up with fear and guilt and shame and all this stuff. As we tap that away, we become our best selves, and our best selves would never want to hurt someone else.
so true, so true.
So it's not, if you're tapping to get past your resistance to doing something immoral, kind of going the wrong direction, because you're going to get past, what you're going to do is you're going to clear away your desire to do something immoral.
Yes,
I don't believe that somebody who's that clear, can do that kind of harmful behavior.
true, true.
So it's kind of strange to think, I'm going to tap
So,
away my morality. I'm going to tap away my ethics. Now, there are people who, I have heard of people doing tapping work, doing unethical things because they haven't cleared all the stuff for themselves, and because of, I believe that people are doing the best they can based on their programming. And a lot of people have some really crappy programming. A lot of people have a lot of really twisted ideas. And so they may believe that they're helping people,
mm,
and they're doing them in harmful ways, because tapping can be so effective and so quickly. A lot of people think that, oh, so I just watched one of Brad's tapping videos. Now I know how to tap. Now I can be an EFT practitioner, and I can go cure cancer, or I can go cure people's sexual abuse, or things like that, with no background in therapy and
exactly.
no training. There are things that you can do with EFT that may not require that, but you need to know your scope of practice. And so there are a lot of people out
Yes,
there who are not aware of the harm they might be doing because of things that they're having their clients talk about, or putting them into situations that client may not be emotionally prepared for, and the practitioner isn't emotionally prepared
yes,
to help guide them through that.
yes,
There are issues that I don't take on myself, and I'll say, you know what, you need to talk to this person who has more training in this area.
yes. So it is, I also agree with you, Brad, where a person who is properly trained on how to apply EFT, it is always safe to learn it professionally and then apply it, instead of just picking up some YouTube and trying on someone else and don't know what to do it. Even I want people, like, out of curiosity, don't try and harm someone else. Get trained properly. That's a excellent advice. Thanks about that.
And that's why all of my videos start with, uh, take full responsibility for your own well-being,
Yes.
because we never know, by putting the videos out there, I never know how someone out there might respond. I might say something, and that might trigger something in someone. Now, you, I can't take responsibility for everyone out there. And so
Yes.
it's like anything that you put out there, like alcohol. I can't, if you couldn't put it out there, or cars.
Yes.
A car, it's drive responsibly, but the car company can't take responsibility for everybody getting behind the wheel being a good driver.
So true.
So it's always my hope that people will do it responsibly. And if they have heavy emotional issues, that they will seek to work with a practitioner, with someone who's able to work with them, as
Yes.
opposed to um, necessarily trying to do heavy therapy through the videos, which they're not intended for.
Yes, yes. Like, YouTube videos or a script, a ready-made script is sometimes might not be applicable for everyone. So it is better, like as you suggested, yes, I do agree. At times, if the person is not in a position to help themselves, it is better to seek professional help.
Yep.
So true. Thank for this wonderful advice. That.
There are
And
some things
huh?
we should not do by ourselves.
Yes. Like
And
don't try
there are
it at
times that
home.
I go to, yeah, there are times that I go to colleagues of mine, because it's like, okay, I can't see certain things for myself.
Of course.
It's like when I did the Wizard's Wish, um, I had a mental block to doing the illustrations, because I drew the book as well, and I was stuck, and I went to a friend of mine, Marla Brucker, who tapped with me, and over the next week I just rattled through I did more
Amazing.
than twice as many drawings as I was thinking I would need.
Excellent.
So yeah.
Thanks for clarifying that, Brad, because a lot of people, no, no, I can do it by myself. I can fix my own issues. This is where the problem comes. Friends, whoever is watching this, please say, like, even people like Brad Yates also don't shy away from seeking help from other professionals. So it's not that we are all perfect. Everyone is going through issues, and it is better to take help. Thanks a lot, Brad, for
Yeah,
clarifying.
and we stop ourselves from seeing our own issues, because all of the issues we have are designed to protect us based on our programming.
Hmm.
That's why I always say self-sabotage is simply misguided self-love. If I'm blocking myself in terms of my health, if I'm blocking myself in terms of my wealth, in terms of my success, in terms of my relationships, it's not that I'm bad or stupid. It's that I have past programming telling me that it's not safe. If I have this
Yes.
belief, if my parents had told me that making more than a certain amount of money would corrupt me, and I was raised with that belief that it would corrupt me and there would be damage, then I'm going to have trouble figuring out my money blocks, because my mind isn't going to say, oh, here's the issue that's going to help you have more money that's going to corrupt you. That's going to stop me. So, but someone else who's not inside my head can say, yes, that's a misunderstanding. Let's
Yes.
move through that, and let's clear up that misunderstanding. Your
So
parents meant the best. They were trying to help you, but they were confused by other people who were confused, who had been confused by other people who were confused.
yes, yes,
And it goes back generations.
yes. And people, how could my parents do this? How could my teachers do it? And personally, also, I had to clear away a lot about my schooling, about my teacher, because they didn't know what they were doing. They just did what they were told.
Right. And they may have had the best of intentions.
Yes.
One of the things that stops so many people from trying what they could possibly do is the line, don't get your hopes up. It's like, hey, mom and dad, I'm going to try out for the school play. Well, okay, but don't get your hopes up. And so, so many people have gone through life not getting their hopes up, and their parents meant the best. It's like, look, disappointment hurts. I was disappointed. It was painful. I don't want you to go through that kind of pain. So, you know, go through life with lowered expectations. But the world depends upon people with high expectations. People who have achieved great things. Imagine Mahatma Gandhi being told, well, don't get your hopes up. If he had been raised that way, he would
Yes.
never have become a lawyer. He would never have had these ideas of expecting better treatment. uh, you know and so there was, fortunately, he had had those ideas of, yes, you can make more of yourself, expect more. The Wright brothers, Martin Luther King Jr., all kinds of people who have achieved amazing things because they got their hopes up. And we have that potential in us. So, but the people who said don't get your hopes up, it's not like, well, I know the world is possible for you. I know that anything is possible. I'll bet you could be the star of that show. But just to be a jerk, I'm going to tell you not to try. Very few now there are parents who are mentally ill and who have a lot of warped thinking and have done great harm to their children. Um, I'm not saying that that doesn't happen, but most of the limiting beliefs that we get from our parents come from the best of intentions based on fear. People teach us from their fears. The
Yes.
teachers who have taught us things comes from their programming of what is necessary. They are doing what they believe will be the best for their students for the most part. And again, there are teachers who should not be teaching, but a lot of that stuff has the best of intention. It's incorrect, it's misunderstandings, but it's not done with harm. It's because they believe that they're doing what will help you be the best kind of person based on what they've been told is the case. And we can go through that. And so a lot of us have the belief, honor your mother and your father. And so we have this idea of, well, if honoring my mother and my father means believing everything that they taught me,
Yeah.
including you'll never amount to anything, or you should never be rich, or don't try. And it's like, no, no, no. Honoring my mother and my father to me means being the absolute best version of myself, because the best way to honor my parents is to be the biggest gift to the world that I can be, so that they can say, wow, we brought this person into the world.
Yes.
And they may not get it. They may, some people, um they can't. But the best way to honor your parents is honor their true divine self, not their confused self. It's like if they were bad at math and said 3 + 3 = 1, you're not going to go sit there and okay, I have to fail every math test as a way of honoring my parents.
Yes. And thanks a lot, Brad. It's been a wonderful, conversation with you. I know, this is still a dream. I'm not able to believe that there is this person in front of me whose videos I watched, and I grew up using EFT and then turning EFT into a career. So thanks a lot for inspiring people all over the world, and your videos are awesome. Keep creating more and more, and may your
I
work spread
intend to.
across.
Well, and thank you, Nizam, for for answering the call to be of service in this way. Uh, Thank you for this opportunity to share this work. I
And
I love I love sharing it. So I'm grateful for the opportunity to reach more folks and share my experience, and hopefully inspire folks to use this process, this
yes,
strange looking process, to change your life in so many wonderful ways.
and it works. Just give it a try.
It works.
Yes, yes. Thank you. Thanks a lot, Brad. And